all across America and around the world. This is Veterans Radio. This is Veterans Radio.
Welcome to Veterans Radio. I am Jim Fossone. I'm the officer of the deck today. We've got some great programs for you. I think you'll find very interesting. We always want to remind you can find more about Veterans Radio at its Facebook site or by going to veteransradio.net, where we're on the web 24/7. You can find a lot of our podcasts there as well. We post new ones every Tuesday, so you can get a new story, a new interview, something you didn't know before by going to veteransradio.net. And before we get started, we want to thank our sponsors. First up, we want to thank National Veteran Business Development Council, nvbdc.org. It was established to certify both service-disabled and veteran-owned businesses. You'll find out how they can help your business by going to nvbdc.org. We want to thank Legal Help for Veterans. Legal Help for Veterans fights for veterans' disability rights all across the nation. You can reach them at 800-693-4800 or on the web at legalhelpforveterans.com. We want to welcome to Veterans Radio today Dr. Kenneth Hartman. He's here to talk about a great national program called Our Community Salutes. Dr. Hartman, welcome to Veterans Radio.
Hey, Jim, it's an honor to be with you and to have a few words with your listeners.
Well, we're glad to have you on. Ken is a e-learning authority, a former university professor. He's run online college courses and programs, and as a former Army officer, he's got degrees from the State University of New York, from Michigan State University, and the University of Pennsylvania. And all those confluences came together because he kind of not only has education and military, but understanding kids. And in 2009 in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, lightning struck, and you thought, you know what? Here's something I should be doing. Tell us how Our Community Salutes came about.
Yeah, it really was lightning. Actually, it was a moment of weakness when I agreed to serve in our local school board here. And it was on that school board that I discovered that we were doing nothing to recognize and honor the kids who were graduating from our high schools and who were enlisting. The kids who were going off and doing ROTC like I did a million years ago, and certainly kids going off the academies, they got recognized, and their moms and dads were made to feel special. But for the small number of kids those parents, literally, I saw them going underground because they were tired of defending their son or daughter's decision to serve. I'm sure in communities like yours, when people ask a son or daughter, so what's your son doing next year? And they would say, well, what college is he going to? Is he going to Michigan State, Michigan? And parents would say here, no, he's going into the Army. And they would hear, oh, what? Army? What happened? Are you okay with that? So I decided to do something. That's when I held our first event in May of 2009. I wasn't sure how I was going to pay for it, where I was going to have it, who was going to come, but I wanted to honor all the kids in our county. And that was the first year. We had this tremendous event. I got 60 some odd kids, about 200 people. I found a retired one-star in my community. And what has happened over the past 15 years is the word has gotten out about what we've done. And we've grown. We've grown from one community to 20 communities to 30 communities to 40 communities, 50 communities, all over the country. And as you know, right there in Detroit, we've had a ceremony for the kids from Detroit who are enlisting for upwards of the last 5 or 6 years. So, yeah, it's been quite a movement over the last 15 years.
Well, this supports not only the kids, but as you say, their families, their parents, on this important decision that's getting made by fewer and fewer of us in the country. But did it start out to support the kids or the parents? How did you think it would develop?
Both. Like I said, I saw these parents literally going underground, tired of defending their mom's bad decision. again, back 2009, these kids were still going off to war. And so it was critically important to do that. I should tell you also that I had a very good friend of mine at that time whose son went into the Marine Corps and was delayed going to college, decided to go to the Marine Corps. And in the first month he was in Afghanistan, he was killed by a suicide bomber. And when he came home, everybody in the community turned out to rally around this kid and his family. But the mother told me at the time that there was nobody there when he decided to enlist. In fact, they questioned his decision. So our motto is the first to say thank you, and for that very reason. But so it was about the kids, it's about the parents, it's about our nation, and the need for these young people to be willing to stand in the watchtower, so the rest of us have the liberties and freedoms that we enjoy.
Oh, absolutely. We have to encourage these kids who sign up and support their families, because these are hard decisions. And we're such a social media visual society now. When a kid decides he's going to play baseball or softball at the local college or community college, or maybe it's a Division I, there's a big signing day and there's photographs taken. It's a big deal. But, you know, I sort of see what you're trying to do with our community salutes somewhat in that same vein.
Absolutely. Yeah, people have called this kind of their signing day, their signing ceremony. And I think that's great, because it does bring that recognition to them and their families. And that a D1 athlete would get, or certainly, you know, Michigan State or Michigan has a new student reception. They get that. So, yes, it is their signing day, so to speak.
Now, is this done in conjunction with or supported by, or is totally separate from whatever the military recruiters are doing in a given area all across the nation?
Great question. So we work very closely with the recruiting commands. In fact, I just yesterday, as a matter of fact, had a briefing with the new incoming commanding general for Army recruiting. So we work very closely with them at a national level. In fact, many of those commanders speak. The commanding general for Air Force recruiting, Major General Thomas, was the speaker at my ceremony here in South Jersey this past May. And the reason why these recruiters at local and national level are involved with OCS is not only because it's a good thing, but what they have found is that the kids who come to our ceremony, nearly 100% of them actually get on the bus. And so it helps them with retention. Again, you can't come to our ceremony unless you've already taken that oath. But when they do, and they're surrounded by people like you and your listeners, the moms and dads and the kids finally get it. And they get on the bus, and they do very, very well. So we rely on them. We honor them. We have all sorts of awards for them for their support. But that's the relationship between the individual communities and the recruiting commands.
Well, it's really is complementary. And as you say, you've been doing this long enough that you've got some data now. And for I'll call you an old educator. For an old educator, data is really important, isn't it?
I like to refer to myself as a recovering educator, but
okay.
That's fine.
But you now have some data that really helps prove the point, not only in, hey, getting these kids on the bus, but sort of the return on investment to making that decision about joining up as well, don't you? Yeah,
we do. In fact, this past May, we had a giant ceremony in Boston where the Chief of Staff of the Army, General McConville, was the featured military speaker, and 750 people. There were 350 some odd kids at Gillette Stadium in Boston. And so there you have the Chief of Staff of the Army seeing firsthand the impact and the tears in the parents' eyes. And he got it. In fact, I'll be meeting with him in the Pentagon on the 23rd of September to talk about, what the Army could do to further support OCS. But yeah, it's the challenge is always is that, as you know very well, people change commands every 2 years. Recruiters turn over every 2 years. Commanding generals return every 2 years. So I'm constantly finding myself educating our elected leaders and our military leaders themselves on what we do.
Well, and the type of recruit has really changed over the years, too, because what we need, back in my day, there was no cyber force. There was, we need, kids who are smarter, more analytical, more technology driven. And I think that's probably also somewhat interesting to see when these kids get together at your events, that they have a lot of commonality and interests that they might not think they otherwise had.
Absolutely. Yeah. And today, unlike, in our day, they're offering these kids anywhere between $10,000 and $50,000 signing bonus. I saw a thing on the news the other day. NBC reported that the Navy is offering upwards of $100,000 signing bonus for certain MOSs, certain technical MOSs as well. So, there is a tremendous pathway for these young people if they choose to take that.
And talk a little bit about the article you recently wrote, the op-ed and that kind of compared the college and high school decision making. Hey, I'm going into college or I'm going off to the military, and the return on investment on that decision.
Yeah, sure. Anybody can read it by going to our website at ocsusa.org. That's OCS, Oscar Charlie Sierra, ocsusa.org. It's on our website. But, as I said, as a recovering university president, I got tired of everybody saying everybody's got to go to college. And this is long before the discussion now about forgiving student loans came about when I wrote this thing. But it shows really what the ROI is. 4 years in the military, because 75% of the kids who enlist in the military today will only serve for 4 years. That's it. And they're getting out. And so if you compare what a 4-year college degree offers and the amount of debt, the lack of any meaningful real work experience compared to a person getting 4 years of military experience, oftentimes getting secret clearance, making money, and then getting out and basically having the GI Bill that will pay for all of their education plus housing, it's hard to argue against the ROI versus one versus the other. Now, again, I'm not suggesting that everybody should serve in the military, not at all. Unfortunately, however, only 8% of young people today have even an interest in doing that, and less than 23% are even qualified to do that. But it does provide people a perspective. One of the things we do at our ceremony all the time here locally is we always bring back a kid who was a senior the year before and has been on active duty for 1 year. We make sure we bring back a soldier, a sailor, an airman, or Marine who has already earned, just from their military schooling alone in the first year, upwards of 60 college credits, ACE-approved, American College Education, ACE-approved college credits, because we want the parents to see that just by going in the military, just by completing your military schooling your first year, you could earn upwards of 60 college credits that you can apply, almost an associate degree. So you go back to the ROI, right? One person is paying for those 60 degrees. The other person is being paid to get the 60 degrees, 60 college credits.
It's really surprising.
It's really eye-opening when you look at it.
Yeah, it's really surprising how much training in whatever field you get put into or want to get into that the military will do for you. That's really what they do, is they shape young folks, get them through that growing up period, but train them up, whether they're going to be in the medical field or a diesel mechanic or a jet mechanic or in the cyber area. There's just a whole lot of training that goes on that's so valuable for down the road. How many communities are involved in this Our Community Salutes program?
So we've had upwards of 60 communities across the country, including Puerto Rico. And this past year, we had 2 events in U.S. Virgin Islands, both in St. Croix and in St. Thomas. It goes up and down depending upon the volunteers. Some years we've gone dark, some years we've come back, because it truly is a grassroots effort, and we rely on our volunteers to do that. But I have to tell you, breaking news, we just received a significant grant from a foundation to really scale up OCS over the next 3 years. So we're going to be looking for communities around the country who are interested in working with us to make sure that these young people, and remember, there's only about 150,000 kids in a good year that make this decision. And so if we as a nation can't figure out a way to make sure they have their signing day, then they get that recognition, then we're in bigger problems and bigger trouble than we all care to admit. So we're really excited about this grant that we've received. Literally just found out about it last week. and we're in the process now of putting together the team to rapidly expand what we're doing across the country.
There you go. We're breaking news with
breaking news.
Dr. Kenneth Hartman, founder of our Community Salutes, Army veteran, educator, and really onto something that I think was sorely missing, and that is to give those 150,000 kids their signing day and to make sure that they understand their community supports them going into the service and will be there to support them when they come out of service as well.
Hey, Jim, can I offer your listeners one easy way to recognize these kids?
Absolutely.
Doesn't take long.
Absolutely.
If they come to our website, we have a virtual thank you card that they can sign. We've just started for the class of 2023. They can go onto our website, sign that virtual thank you card to the class of 2023. Our goal is to get 1 million Americans to sign that virtual thank you card by the 4th of July. So that's an easy way at ocsusa.org, and they can sign it, and they can add a little comment or thoughts. It will go a long way.
And if you go to the website, go over and get at the top, there'll be a button that says Get Involved, and that's where you can click on the thank you card, as well as learn more about our Community Salutes and all the good work that they are doing. If you wanted to get involved with your local community and said, hey, I see it's, in the communities, it shows that there's one here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. How do I get myself involved if I'm down there in Baton Rouge, or even maybe I want my kid to know that he should go do this? Yes.
Just come to the website. There's a form that you can fill out. We get them all the time from people that are interested in getting involved or supporting their local event, and we respond to those as soon as we get them. But if people want to write to me directly, they can reach me at Ken, Ken, at ocsusa.org, and that's Ken at ocsusa.org, and you can email me directly, and I'll put you in touch with our local community leaders.
So there's really no excuse if you're out there, you're a parent, a grandparent, an uncle, an aunt, and your relative's going to join up in the spring. Maybe he's already committed to get him involved in this kind of local thank you at your local community level, so that, again, going in, he or she appreciates, hey, my community does support me, and that's the whole idea between our Community Salutes.
Well, Jim, one of the things we have found is that smart businesses, smart colleges know that these kids are going to be very quickly getting out of the military after 48 months, or maybe a little longer than that. If you want these young people to come back with all of those skills and all of that maturity to work for you or to go to school at your institution, now is the time when they're going in that you begin to express that appreciation, because they will remember it in a few years' time.
And I'm looking at some of these, and some of them have the ceremony posted and maybe the agenda posted. So for a local community that isn't on your list and isn't doing this yet, but somebody out there in the veteran radio listening audience, because we're hitting a national audience, says, hey, we ought to be doing something like this. Why aren't we? Can they reach out and say, hey, I want to start one of these in my community?
Yes. There is a form on our website they can complete. Just to give you an example, I just got one yesterday from Jacksonville, North Carolina, and I'll be talking with her tomorrow at 2:00. We had we had a meeting not too long ago with about a dozen communities around the country, San Diego, a couple in Colorado. So just go fill out that form, and we'll get back to you to set up a conversation. We've got everything you need, all the materials, to run a show, everything you need to do a phenomenal event in your community. You just need to have about 5 people willing to help you make it happen, and we'll work with you on that.
Yeah, and we don't want to scare people off in doing this, because, as you say, it only takes maybe 5 dedicated folks, and it's not a big budget item. I mean, this is a volunteer grassroots effort to put these on a given day, and generally probably in May or June, right?
Correct. And, again, we have ceremonies that are 750 people and big extravaganza, and those are nice. And then we have ceremonies where you have under 100 people, and 25 kids, and the moms and dads, bake brownies and the pasta, and they have and they do it at their local gym. It really doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter how. It's just, you only get one shot to thank these kids, right? They only graduate once. And they only go off to boot camp once. And so it's terribly important to take advantage of that opportunity when it presents itself.
Well, again, a very simple idea, which is often the foundation of a solid program, is just, if it's simple enough, we can all get it. And I think this is the sort of thing that everybody gets. Most of us didn't get sent off with any kind of maybe the family patted you on the back, but that was about it. So this is sort of a communal event where the community really gets involved, and you're not standing there alone, but with a number of other folks who are joining up that day is really, I imagine, a pretty special event, isn't it, Ken?
It is. I tell people, short of the birth of your children and your marriage and your kids' marriage, it is such an emotional event that you have to experience it to believe it. It's just such this pent up love that these kids, and particularly their moms and dads, are willing to share with people, but they're not typically surrounded by people who understand or even know how to appreciate the decision that their son or daughter is going to. Our culture is all about going to college, and that's fine. It's meant for some people, but there are people who are delaying that college experience, willing to be in the watchtower so their fellow classmates can do that right after high school. And for those kids, this is their opportunity. For those families, this is their opportunity. And for those communities, it's their opportunity to be the first to say thank you. So, yeah, we don't need to make it any more complex than it is.
Well, and one of the things that's happened in our country is that military recruits tend to come from the South, where there are bases or there's a family history of military service. And this is a great way to broaden that out. You certainly have ceremonies in areas like Detroit, Michigan, where there's no base, or in Indiana. I don't see any in Illinois. Come on, Illinois, we need you to get involved here. Wisconsin, some areas where, again, there's not a deep-rooted pool, and those kids probably need more support than anybody else. So let's go to the website, OCSUSA.org. Let's click on where there were ceremonies in 2022, and let's generate some more communities all around the country that help support this great program. Ken, you mentioned you got a nice grant. That's wonderful, but if people like this idea and want to help out, how do they do that as well?
Oh, absolutely. They can come to our website and make a donation. One of the things there's a button there. One of the things that we're pushing for is helping us support we give away a little 96-page guide to our nation's founding documents and our history. It's a little pocket guide that we give all the way to kids. And with Constitution Day, National Constitution Day, this Saturday, we are trying to get people to help us support that initiative, to make sure these young people have this little pocket guide with them so they understand what they've taken an oath to defend and protect. And if they're interested in helping us to do that, make a donation. For every $50 they donate, that will help us to give 50 of these away. We'll send them a copy of it as well. Again, it's so important these days for these kids to understand the Constitution, to understand their founding documents, to understand the history of our nation. And unfortunately, they don't get that in high school. So we're trying to provide them with this resource. So on our website, you can learn all about our pocket guide to our founding documents and how you can support that.
And one last thing that I wanted to mention is you have a Colin Powell Award for guidance counselors who really have helped out. Tell us a little bit about that, and there could be nobody better named for than General Colin Powell, who we all know, but what we may also not know that he spent his post-retirement years really supporting higher education in New York.
Yeah,
so tell us about this award.
I had the honor of meeting him way back in the very beginning of 2009. And when I asked him if we could name an award after him, he said yes. And this award is really intended to strengthen the relationship between the high school guidance counselors and the local military recruiters, because they all, after all, counselors tend to be the gatekeeper. And so this award allows the local military recruiter to nominate a high school guidance counselor who's going above and beyond the call of duty. And they submit a form to their local OCS planning team. And then that team selects 1, 2, or more school counselors to be honored at that event. And again, strengthening that relationship, allowing them to meet and get into these schools. We're looking right now actually for a sponsor to help us to do a new award where we would honor high school science and math teachers. Because again, as you indicated earlier, many of these new jobs that the military has are very technical, and we need kids who have an interest and a talent in science and math. And so we're looking at a new award this spring and someone to help us to present this award, companies, businesses, individuals, so that these recruiters can also nominate a STEM teacher, if you will, to be recognized and honored at these events.
Oh, that's a great idea. I want to thank Dr. Ken Hartman, founder and president of our Community Salutes, for spending a little time with Veterans Radio today. Again, I encourage all of our listeners to go to ocsusa.org to find out more and get involved, and maybe bring this event to your community to support those who are joining our military, and make sure they and their family feel supported on the way into military service. Ken,
Jim, while they're there, they can check out our new virtual Patriot Wall that we just started, thanks to the support of USAA. We're putting up pictures of the kids that the parents are sending to us, of those who attended our ceremonies this past spring, and then we're asking these parents to send us their pictures of their sons or daughters at their basic training graduation ceremony. So we want to show before and after, and make sure that America sees these young people, who they are before and after, and help them reconnect that. So kudos and thanks to USAA for helping us to make that happen. But it's important for people to see these kids now and certainly when they get out.
Ken, thanks for your time today. We really do appreciate it, and keep up the good work.
Thanks, Jim, and thanks very much to your listeners as well. Appreciate it.
And I want to thank everybody for listening to Veterans Radio today. I am Jim Faussone. It's been a pleasure to be your host. I'm a veterans disability lawyer at Legal Help for Veterans, and you can reach us at 800-693-4800 or legalhelpforveterans.com on the web. You can follow Veterans Radio on Facebook and listen to its podcasts and internet radio shows by going to veteransradio.net. And until next time, you are dismissed.
If you have a VA claim denied by the Board of Veterans' Appeals, contact Legal Help for Veterans at 1-800-693-4800. They're experts in handling cases before the U.S. Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims. Their number again, 1-800-693-4800.
We again want to thank our national sponsors, the National Veterans Business Development Council, NVBDC.org, VA Ann Arbor Health Care System, the Vietnam Veterans of America Charles S. Kettles Chapter, Ann Arbor, Michigan, VFW Graf O'Hara Post 423 in Ann Arbor, and the American Legion Press Corn Post 46, also in Ann Arbor. We appreciate all your support. You can go to veteransradio.net, click on the sponsor level, and continue to support keeping Veterans Radio on the air. And until next time, you are dismissed.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.